It's a good one. God is rebuilding what broke you. Sometimes we feel like we've been broken, or we feel like that something went wrong somewhere, and that we're not the person that we should be, or we're striving to be, and we just don't know. And somehow we feel like we're broken sometimes. Well, when that happens, there's a way that God can absolutely rebuild you. And the verse today is, He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. The full verse is from Psalms 147:3. It's the same thing. He heals the brokenhearted and binds up their wounds. And the grounding today is, I bring you every broken piece today. Everything that you think is broke, everything you think that's not working, everything you think is not functional, everything that in your life that isn't working, we're going to bring it to God today, trusting that what you rebuild will be stronger than what was there before. And here's the truth here. Brokenness is not the end of your story. Some of us believe that it may be. We think it's hard to go on, but it is truly not the end of your story. It's often the beginning of the most powerful chapter. The reality is, God does not discard what is broken. He just rebuilt it. Not into a patch up version or what it is before. I mean, sometimes we'll put tape on stuff, right? Or we'll get the super glue out because we've broken a toy, or we've broken something, and the super glue doesn't work, and then we'll get the hypoxy, and the hypoxy seems to be stronger, and it still doesn't work because in the reality, it's just a patch. Remember the jeans that we used to have when we were kids? And I don't know how old you are, but when I was a kid, nowadays, I guess they just leave the holes in them. But when I was a kid, we couldn't have holes in our jeans. And Mom would go to the store and she would buy a patch, and then we would iron it on the area, or she would sew it on, and it made our jeans look so ugly. But it was a temporary fix until we could get a new pair of jeans. Well, God doesn't just patch up our version of what it was before, not into a slightly improved replica of what broke. But what God does is He builds it into something stronger, something deeper, something more resilient, and something more purposeful than the original ever was. And it's so cool when you think about, if you think about like cars over the years and over the days and the decades, and you would see a model of, let's say, the Ford Mustang has been around forever. Somebody says, well, the classic is the Ford 67 Mustang or whatever. But if you look at the Mustang, my neighbor just got one, which is now the new improved electronic version of the Mustang. And he says that he loves it, and he says that it's just a wonderful car. But they didn't just patch up the old one and take out the engine and put a whole new electric version in. I guess the motors are in the tires in the new version. They rebuilt it. It doesn't look the same. It has some remembrances of it. There we go, of what the old car looks like, but it's been brought new. And that's what God wants to do with us. He wants us to build into something stronger, into something deeper, into something more resilient, and something more purposeful than the original ever was. The Japanese art of Kintsugi repairs broken pottery with gold, making the cracks not just whole, but beautiful, not just fixed, but more valuable than before the breaking. This is what God does with broken lives. Broken lives, broken minds, broken dreams, and broken seasons. He does not hide the cracks. He fills them with something that makes what broke you the most valuable, visible evidence of His craftsmanship in your life. He fills it with something that makes what broke you the most visible evidence of His craftsman in your life. Here's a quick example here. A man walks through the most devastating season of his life, a marriage that ended, a business that failed, a faith that was shaken into a foundation. For 2 years, he can see nothing in the breaking except loss. He cannot imagine he could possibly be built from the rubble of everything that fell apart. But God was working on the breaking in ways the man could not yet see. A humility was being formed. That success could never have produced the compassion, the Yeah, the compassion was being developed that comfort never could have created. A depth of faith was being built that erased never could have been generated. Oh no, that ease, I'm sorry, erased. My eyes are hurting with me today. That ease could never have generated. 3 years later in this story, the man is standing in rooms he never could have assessed before the breaking, speaking to people he never actually speaking in rooms, speaking to people who need exactly the kind of strength that only comes from someone who has been broken, someone who has been through it before, someone who came from the ashes of the being broken, who felt even 5 years ago that he couldn't go on, into a man that now is the example, is the person who said, I've been here before, you can get through it. And it helps those people. There are things in my life that were broken. There's a lot of reminiscences in that example of my life. Relationships I believed that were permanent. Plans with were certain were God's will, where I thought God's will was taking me. Seasons that I thought were foundations that turned out to be temporary platforms. And in the middle of each breaking, I could not see what God's doing. I could not understand why I was in the position that I was in. I could not understand why the things were going backwards when he promised me forwards. And in the middle of each breaking, I could not see any of it. The breaking just felt like breaking. But now looking back, from the other side of several significant seasons of reconstruction, I can see the gold in every little crack, the humility I could have not chosen voluntarily, the compassion I could not have developed in comfort, the absolute ability to be able to speak to others who are going through stuff because I know how they feel, I know where they've been, I know what they may be going through. The faith that I could not build without the breaking that made everything else insufficient. God was not absent in my breaking. He was there. I cried out to him, right? It just seemed like at the time that it wasn't coming, but he was working on it. I was working on it. We worked on it together, and rebuilding, reconstructing, filling every crack was something more valuable than what was ever there before. I am so glad I am the person I am today compared to the person that I was 15 years ago, 20 years ago, even 10 years ago. 5 years ago, 3 years ago. I just love the fact that I'm becoming the person that he would make me to be. He's doing the same thing in your life. And so here's what's happening in our minds, right? Here, when we talk about the science of how things are going. Research in post-traumatic growth, one of the most compelling areas in modern psychology, consistently shows that a significant percentage of people who experience severe trauma, loss, or crisis do not simply return to their previous baseline of function. They surpass it. Studies by psychologists Richard Tedeschi and Lawrence Calhoun show that post-traumatic growth produces measurable improvement in personal strength, in personal relationships, in depth, in spiritual development, appreciation for life, and recognition of new possibilities, all emerging directly from the experience of brokenness and then reconstruction. So what God has always called redemption, psychology now calls post-traumatic growth. Both confirm the same truth. What breaks you when surrendered to the right process does not just heal you, it gives you an upgrade. So if you're feeling like you're in one of those broken spaces right now, get ready for your upgrade because it's coming right around the corner. God does not discard what is broken. He fills every crack with gold and makes what's broke the most beautiful evidence in his craftsmanship. So the invitation today is, what's broken area of your life have you been hiding from God because you could not imagine anything beautiful being built from it? I think one of the most phenomenal things you're doing is just showing up every morning and letting God start healing the brokenness, not patching it, healing it and making you and giving you an upgrade. I love that term, an upgrade. So practice, write down a couple things that you might think broken this season, the dream, the failure that you have been most reluctant to bring fully to God. Then write the declaration underneath it. And this is important. The declaration is, where do you want to be from here? God is rebuilding this, and what he rebuilds will be stronger than what was there before. Pray over it, release it, and begin watching the gold. He is already filling the cracks. I love that. I want to go find a video at some point today of one of those vases and see how the Japanese actually fill those with gold. Father, I bring you every broken piece, the ones I have been hiding, the ones I have been ashamed of, the ones I could not imagine being rebuilt. You heal the brokenhearted, you bind the wounds, you fill the cracks with gold. Do that in me today. Upgrade me today, Lord. Rebuild what you broke in me in something that carries more of your glory than the broken version. Say amen. And may every broken piece in your life become the very place God's most beautiful and most powerful work is most clearly visible. And may what he rebuilds in you carry more glory than what was there before. The questions for today: what broken area of your life have you been hiding? Where can you already see God filling those cracks with that gold? And how has the season of brokenness produced something in you that comfort and ease to somebody else? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put these in our chat like we do every single morning. And we'll put those in here. Boom. All right. So that you guys can look at them as if you want, as we think about how we're going to live our life as a result in this process. Okay. And so what broke you is not the final word of your story. What fell apart is not the conclusion of what God is building. And what hurt you is not the ceiling of what he can redeem. Because God heals the brokenhearted, he binds the wounds, he fills the cracks with gold, and rebuilds the enemy meant to destroy into something that carries more glory than the unbroken version ever held. Bring him the broken pieces today, every single one of them, even the ones that are ashamed of, even the ones that you've given up on, and even the ones that you feel too far gone to rebuild. Nothing is too broken for God, who specializes in making the broken more beautiful than the whole. He is rebuilding you right now in you, and he's giving you an upgrade. I love it. All right, let's move